with Miss Universe 2022 being more or less just around the corner, happening on the 14th of January of 2023, I thought it would be interesting to look at the IMG era of Miss Universe. So before the new owner of Miss Universe took over, Miss Universe was owned by IMG, and they've owned Miss Universe since 2015. They took it over from Donald Trump, of course, and they've owned Miss Universe throughout 2015 up until last year's edition of Miss Universe 2021, and this year it was announced that a new company has bought Miss Universe. So for this video, I wanted to look at the winners and placements from some of the most successful countries of Miss Universe within the last 7 years, which was the IMG era. Coming in at number 10 of the most successful countries of the IMG era of Miss Universe, and not only that, I would argue literally one of the most successful countries of Miss Universe history ever throughout all of the periods, is Venezuela. On this list, they're actually number 10, and that's quite surprising, but it is really interesting to me that Venezuela has not won one Miss Universe crown during the entirety of the IMG era. Instead, Venezuela got one top 10 placement in 2015. They were unplaced in 2016. They got a top 5 placement in 2017. And they got a second runner-up placement in 2018. Oh, I absolutely love that woman. I just thought she was so gorgeous. In 2019, they got a top 20 placement. In 2020, they were unfortunately unplaced, as were many other favorite countries that year. And in 2021, they got a top 16 placement. So of course the closest that Venezuela got to actually winning a Miss Universe crown during the IMG era was in 2018. Of course that year the beautiful Catriona Gray won. South Africa was first runner-up. But the woman who represented Venezuela that year, in my opinion, was also just incredible. At number 9 of the most successful countries at Miss Universe during the IMG era, I have Puerto Rico. Similarly to Venezuela, Puerto Rico did pretty well in the IMG era of Miss Universe, placing most of the time, even getting some runner-up spots, but they unfortunately also never won a Miss Universe title, which set them back on this list definitely. In 2015 as well as 2016 and 2017, Puerto Rico unfortunately went unplaced at Miss Universe. So it didn't start off very well for Puerto Rico at Miss Universe in the IMG era. But in 2018, they got a top 5 placement, followed by their 2019 first runner-up placement by Madison Berrios, who of course was incredible, and she went up against Zozibini Tunzi. And then in 2020 they got a top 10 placement, as well as in 2021. So despite starting off very slow with 3 consecutive non-placements at Miss Universe during the IMG era, Puerto Rico managed to get back up on their feet with a top 5 placement, 2 top 10 placements, and a first runner-up placement, which puts them at number 9 on this list. At number 8, we have Brazil. Brazil is another one of those countries that, although they never managed to win a Miss Universe title during the IMG era, they did manage to place quite high most of the time. During the first year of the IMG era in 2015, Brazil got a top 15 placement. In 2016, they managed to get into the top 13. In 2017, they got into the top 10. In 2018, they got into the top 20. In 2019, they got into the top 20 once again. In 2020, Brazil was actually the first runner-up. And unfortunately, last year in 2021, their placement streak was ruined because they did not place at Miss Universe 2021, which was the last year of the IMG era of Miss Universe. Overall, I think Brazil is a great country when it comes to Miss Universe. As you can see, during the past 7 years, they've placed more often than not. I definitely think that Brazil is sort of an overlooked South American country because, they are competing against Venezuela and Colombia when it comes to South America. I feel like Brazil is definitely a very powerful pageant country as well. So at number 7 we have Mexico, and as we all know, Mexico did have a recent Miss Universe winner during the IMG era, of course through Andrea Meza in 2020, but they've also been pretty successful throughout the IMG era of Miss Universe, which has allowed them to be on this list. So in 2015 Mexico managed a top 15 placement. In 2016 they were present in the top 9. Unfortunately, in 2017 and 2018 they went unplaced, but in 2019 they were back with this gorgeous woman, I'm sure we can all remember, who got the second runner-up title, of course, Sofia Aragon. I absolutely loved her. 2020, of course, they won, and then in 2021, unfortunately, just like Brazil, they went unplaced. But overall, I think that Mexico is a pretty powerful country as well if they have the right contestant representing them. At number 6, surprisingly, we have the USA. We all know that the USA currently holds the most wins at Miss Universe ever, I think with 8 wins or something ridiculous like that. They're also the most placed country at Miss Universe. But surprisingly, during the IMG era, the USA came in at number 6 when it came to the most successful countries. In 2015, of course, the second runner-up was from the US, the beautiful Olivia, and this is actually their highest placement ever during the IMG era of Miss Universe. So in 2016, they got a top 9 placement. In 2017, they were in the top 10. In 2018, they were present in the top 20, which was very controversial because, of course, Sarah Rose Summers and company were perceived as making fun of Miss Universe Vietnam that year due to her lack of command over the English language. In 2019, of course, the beautiful Chesley Christ got the USA a spot in the top 10 at Miss Universe. In 2020, they were present in the top 21. And last year, of course, the beautiful woman who represented them, she was from Kentucky, Elle Smith, I think, got a top 10 placement for the USA. So interestingly, the USA never had a non-placement at Miss Universe during the IMG era, but their highest placement was second runner-up during the very first year with the incredible Olivia Jordan. Of course, Chesley got top 10, but overall, I think that the USA's performance at Miss Universe during the past 7 years has been very much in the middle. You know, they never came extremely close to winning, and they never had a very, very, very standout contestant who multiple fans all over the world saw as the next Miss Universe. So I think that was very, very interesting. The next country who I think was very successful at Miss Universe during the IMG era is France. Of course, we know that France managed to win Miss Universe during the IMG era in 2016 through the gorgeous Iris Mittenaere. But in 2015, France was present in the finalists as well, reaching the top 5, which is very impressive. And of course, in 2016, they won. In 2017 and 2018, unfortunately, France went unplaced at Miss Universe. In 2019, they reached the top 10. In 2020, they reached the top 21. And in 2021, France managed to reach the top 10 again through the beautiful Clemence Bottino, who I'm still obsessed with. She's going to be representing France very soon at Miss World. France, I would definitely say, is carrying Europe at Miss Universe. But we all have, we all know countries like that. In Africa, it's very much perceived to be South Africa carrying, most African countries. And I think when it comes to Europe, it's definitely France's role. At number 4, the 4th most successful country at Miss Universe during the IMG era, I would definitely say Thailand. Because again, although Thailand did not win any titles during the IMG era of Miss Universe, they did do exceptionally well when it comes to placements. In 2015, Thailand started off strong with a top 10 placement. In 2016, they placed in the top 6. In 2017, they placed in the top 5. In 2018, of course, when the pageant was held in Thailand, they placed in the top 10. In 2019, it was a top 5 placement once again. And in 2020, they had a top 10 placement. Unfortunately, it was only last year at the 2021 pageant that Thailand unfortunately broke their placement streak. But I do think it's exceptional looking back at all those top 5 placements, top 10 placements. You know, they didn't just place as a finalist, but they actually went pretty far in the competition, and to me that is very impressive. I think that Thailand is not that far away from a Miss Universe crown. Now, of course, at number 3, you have to have expected this country to be on the list. Of course, I'm talking about Colombia. Colombia is just an exceptional country when it comes to Miss Universe. And again, unfortunately, they did not win any Miss Universe crowns during the IMG era, but they did come exceptionally close multiple times, placing consecutively. You know, Colombia is definitely a very consistent country when it comes to Miss Universe. So in 2015, Colombia placed as the first runner-up, as we all know. In 2016, they were the second runner-up. In 2017, again, they were the first runner-up. And in 2018, they went unplaced. And the thing is, with 2018, there was some controversy because 2018 was the first time ever that a trans woman would be competing at Miss Universe. And the trans woman in question, Angela Ponce, was representing Spain. And the Colombian representative that year did not, agree with this. I think she gave an interview stating that Miss Universe is, for natural born women. And that created some controversy. And I definitely think, there is no doubt in my mind, that this controversy and the fact that she was, against Angela competing, or against trans women competing at Miss Universe in general, fed into the fact and led to her non-placement at Miss Universe. In 2019, again, Colombia managed a top 5 placement. In 2020, they only managed to reach the top 21, but this didn't stop them last year in 2021 when they once again reached a top 5 placement. So during the last 7 editions of Miss Universe, Colombia managed to get a top 5 placement 5 times, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. And the one year that they did not place at Miss Universe, there was huge controversy surrounding their contestant being against trans women competing at Miss Universe, even though Miss Universe made it perfectly fine for trans women to compete at Miss Universe since 2012. So this woman would have been, aware that there would be a chance for her to compete against a trans woman. So I don't know why she was shocked or surprised that Miss Universe were allowing trans women, since it had already been established like 6 years prior that trans women were welcome at Miss Universe. Anyway, moving on, the second most successful country at Miss Universe during the IMG era is, of course, my beautiful South Africa. Yes, I have loved the IMG era of Miss Universe for my birth country. It has been absolutely amazing. Of course, South Africa, we all know, has managed to get 2 winners out of the IMG era at Miss Universe, as well as a runner-up placement. But let's begin at the beginning. So in 2015, South Africa managed to get a top 15 placement at Miss Universe. In 2016, unfortunately, we did not place at Miss Universe. But in 2017, of course, we were back with a bang when Demi Lee Nel-Peters managed to win the first Miss Universe crown for South Africa since 1978. This was absolutely huge. This caused an absolute renaissance for pageantry in South Africa and pageant interest amongst the general population. In 2018, all eyes were on Tamarin Green, who of course got a first runner-up placement at Miss Universe. competing against Catriona Gray. We were very proud of her, and I think everybody could agree that Catriona definitely deserved the win. In 2019, of course, South Africa was back with Zozibini Tunzi, who was such an incredible Miss Universe. You know, she won, but she also won people's hearts as well as the Miss Universe crown, and she had many fans all over the world, people who looked up to her. But in 2020, South Africa unfortunately went unplaced. And in 2021, they were back with Lalela Mswane, who managed to get a second runner-up placement. So during the 7 editions of Miss Universe that the IMG era were in charge of, South Africa went unplaced twice. We got 1 first runner-up, 1 second runner-up, and 1 top 15 placement. But of course, it is those 2 wins that got South Africa on the second spot of this list as the second most successful country at Miss Universe in the IMG era. Now, of course, the most successful country at Miss Universe during the IMG era is the Philippines. And the Philippines, definitely, while I'm making these lists, recently I've been really into lists and research into who is the most successful country at this pageant and this pageant, you know, going through the ropes of all of the international pageants throughout the year. The Philippines shows up quite a lot as number 1. And I would definitely say this speaks to the fact that the Philippines is a powerhouse country. And this is why I don't necessarily view South Africa as a pageant powerhouse when it comes to all international pageants, when it comes to, you know, being a powerhouse globally. Because yes, South Africa can be considered a powerhouse at Miss Universe right now and in the IMG era, but the Philippines, they do very, 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 very well at all international pageants that they compete in. So I'm talking Miss World, Miss Universe, Miss Earth, Miss International. Usually the Philippines will be up there as one of the most successful pageant countries. And this is why I have such immense respect for the Philippines and their contestants and their staff working with the contestants and the different organizations who rally behind these contestants. Anyway, so of course in 2015 we know that the Philippines won Miss Universe through the gorgeous Pia Wurtzbach. In 2016 the Philippines got a top 6 placement. In 2017 it was a top 10 placement. In 2018 they won, of course, once again with Catriona Gray, who was absolutely incredible. In 2019 the Philippines placed in the top 20, which is actually one of their lowest placements. In 2020, of course, they only managed to get a top 21 placements as well. So 2019 and 2020 would be considered a low year for the Philippines at Miss Universe. But although that is true, for most other countries in the world competing at Miss Universe, just placing in the top 20 or top 21 is a huge accomplishment in itself. For example, for me, I live in Namibia right now. If Namibia were to only place at Miss Universe for 1, I would be dancing in the streets. So happy would I be. And of course, last year at Miss Universe 2021, the Philippines did manage to get a top 5 placement. Overall, the Philippines has done exceptionally well, but I would definitely say, looking back at all of the countries on this list, if we didn't focus so much on the winners, I would definitely say that one of the most successful countries at Miss Universe ever is definitely Colombia, because they always manage to get very, very close to the crown. There's very rarely a time where they only manage to place and go no further. So for me, in my heart, really, I feel like Colombia is like the Miss Universe farm of the world. You know, they do exceptionally well at Miss Universe, but as does the Philippines. I only hope that South Africa, that we can remain one of the best countries at Miss Universe, even though we are transitioning into a new era of Miss Universe, because we did manage to do so well during the IMG era. Anyway guys, those were the most successful countries at Miss Universe during the IMG era. Let me know what you think. Which changes do you think are going to be happening during the new JKN era? Please let me know. Do you think that Thailand, because the new owner and the new organization is very much, you know, based out of Thailand. Do you think that a lot is going to be changing for Thailand at Miss Universe? Let me know what you guys think. I would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.